Now that was a fantastic way to begin the day. That sunrise was in Ormond Beach, where I'm staying for a few days while I'm here in Florida. I've come up the coast now about 40 miles to St. Augustine. This is one of the most historic cities in all of America. Let's see what we can find out about this place. St. Augustine is the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement in the United States. It was established in 1565 and served as the Spanish capital of the territory for over 200 years. Florida, and with it St. Augustine, became a part of the United States in 1819. To say there's a lot of history in this city would be a dramatic understatement. One of the places where that history is most prominently on display is on the waterfront. This is Castillo de San Marcos. It was built by the Spanish beginning in 1672, and it was completed in 1695. Construction was out of coquina, which is a sedimentary rock containing a variety of shells. This structure created a massively successful defensive position. The initial defenses here were made of wood. Once the stone structure was completed, however, it was very effective. This place never fell in battle. The fort was attacked several times, and enemies laid siege to it at least 2 times. The star-shaped fort and strategic placement of its cannons helped those inside to repel the invaders. The installation has changed hands numerous times through the years, but those transfers were all done peacefully. The flags of Spain, Great Britain, the Confederate States of America, and the U.S. have all flown over the fort. Today, Castillo de San Marcos is a part of the National Park Service, designated as a national monument. It is one of the major tourist attractions in St. Augustine. People are able to climb to the top of the fortress and visualize what it must have been like for those charged with holding possession of the place when under attack. Exploring the rooms on the lower level allows visitors to learn of the history and get a sense for what life was like for those stationed here. This has been a feature on the coast for over 450 years and provides a great way to look back over those years. The standard entrance fee is $15 per person, with a variety of discounts available. Another element of the defense of St. Augustine is situated just across the street from Castillo de San Marcos. This is the city gate, which at one time was the only way to get inside the city from the north. The gate was built in 1808 at the time of the final reconstruction of a protective wall around St. Augustine. A wall had been in place to provide security for the city's inhabitants since the early 1700s. The columns and a small portion of the wall attached to them reflect the perilous nature of living in an early American settlement. Someone always wanted your land or possessions. There's an attraction where you can capture an idea of what St. Augustine looked and felt like back in the day. This is the Colonial Quarter. It provides several stations where costumed reenactors talk about history and give demonstrations. The period depicted is 1740, when the Spanish were firmly in control. There's even a song devoted to the establishment of this place as America's first European settlement.
In 1565, Menendez sailed the ocean wide.
There is plenty more to see. If you stick around long enough, you can witness the sight and sound of powder being ignited in an old cannon.
Fire the hoe!
The Colonial Quarter provides educational information in a fun way, and that might just make what you learn stick a little better.
This is why the Portuguese and the Spanish wanted to get to the Indies.
If you are able, climb to the top of the watchtower for a nice view over the city and out onto the water. Primary admission here is just under $15, and again, there are discounts for kids, seniors, and others. Look at this place. It might be difficult to believe, but this is a college. It is Flagler College, to be precise. The school covers 19 acres, but this is the centerpiece. This main building was once the Ponce de Leon Luxury Hotel, a structure developed by one of the most important figures in Florida history, Henry Flagler. The hotel was built in 1888, and Flagler College was founded in 1968. I read and heard about Flagler College being located in an old grand hotel. Nothing prepared me, though, for this place. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is difficult to imagine pursuing higher education in an environment such as this. The architecture and the grounds are stunning, but because of that, tourists are constantly coming by to take a look at your surroundings. I mean, parts of the former hotel are now residence halls. Only a portion of the main building is open to visitors, and it is possible to take a tour to view even more than what can be seen by simply dropping by. Over 2,100 students attend the private institution. Across the street is another former Grand Hotel that was developed by Henry Flagler. This is the former Alcazar Hotel. It was built as a companion to the Ponce de Leon Hotel in 1889. Guests could stay at the place until 1931. The grounds are still phenomenal, and the building is as spectacular as it ever was. It is now home to the Lightner Museum, and a portion of it also serves as St. Augustine City Hall. Even if you don't have business with the city or want to go through the museum, wander into the courtyard. The entire place is full of jaw-dropping beauty. St. Augustine is situated right on the water. It's not the ocean, but this is Matanzas Bay. Several creeks and rivers flow into the saltwater bay that connects out to the Atlantic. This is influenced by the tides, with a daily variation in the depth of the water of about 4.5 feet. Plenty of boats are situated in a marina that is located right in the middle of the city. There are lots of opportunities, too, to view the bay from walkways that are right on the water. My favorite way to experience Matanzas Bay at this spot was by going out onto the Bridge of Lions. This is most likely the way you will arrive in St. Augustine, as Highway A1A uses the bridge to provide access to the city. It is a drawbridge that opens for waterway traffic once or twice an hour, generally at the top and bottom of the hour during daylight. There is a pedestrian walkway that allows people to walk the entire length of the bridge. Going back and forth is only about a mile, so if you have time, I would recommend it. The bridge was completed in 1927 and designed not just as a transportation link, but also as a work of art. There are 4 white marble sculptures which give the bridge its name. The 2 on the western or city side of the bridge were donated by a former St. Augustine mayor. 2 more were added to the eastern side of the bridge just in the past decade. The lions' names stand for firm, faithful, peace, and happiness. There is a historic lighthouse farther to the east outside of town. It can be seen as you approach the city on A1A. The light station dates to the 1870s and stands 50 meters, or 160 feet. I chose not to pay the $15 to get up close to the lighthouse, but caught several angles of it from nearby. The Cathedral Basilica of St. Augustine is the oldest Catholic church in the city and the oldest parish in the nation. The parish of St. Augustine was founded at the same time as the city in 1565. This structure, which is located in the heart of the city, is magnificent. It dates to 1797, and 3 coquina walls of the original building are still in place. Almost 50 years ago, the title of Basilica was bestowed upon the cathedral. That's a big deal in the Catholic Church. The exterior exhibits the Spanish mission style of architecture. It is fantastic, but for the full picture, step inside. That is quite impressive too. North of the center of the city is the Our Lady of La Leche Shrine. This is said to be where the first Catholic Mass was held in North America in that magical year, 1565. The site is open to the public and includes, among other things, the chapel of Our Lady of La Leche. This was built in 1609 and in 2019 was elevated to the status of National Shrine. Indications are that people from all over the world make a pilgrimage to this site. The entire grounds around the chapel are peaceful, and the waterfront location has a beauty that is breathtaking. It is definitely worth coming here for a quick walk around the property. Back in town, one of the primary public spaces is the Plaza de la Constitucion. Sticking with the theme, this is supposedly the oldest public space in North America, established as such in 1573. It was named a national landmark in 1970. For 450 years, this has been a place to congregate and a place to relax. Trees provide beauty and shade in the park. The prominent Constitucion monument was created in 1813 in honor of a newly formed government in Spain. There are other monuments in and on the edges of the plaza. One is in honor of Ponce de Leon, who came to Florida looking for the Fountain of Youth. He arrived on the shores in 1513. Another monument pays tribute to St. Augustine's foot soldiers, men and women who protested peacefully during the Civil Rights Movement. Just off of the plaza is the Government House. Portions of this structure date to 1706. The building that was created then served as the governor's house during the first Spanish period, through the British period, and finally during the second Spanish period. A previous house built on the same land in 1598 was also used as the governor's residence. The main street for shopping and dining in present-day St. Augustine is St. George Street. It is closed to vehicles, making for a pleasant place for visitors and locals to stroll among the storefronts. There are even some historic sites scattered among the commercial enterprises. St. George Street was the main avenue during colonial times and through much of the city's early history. It is still one of the main places to go for tourists coming to check out the sights. There is a wide variety of establishments here, but the one that I was drawn to was the original Leche. Not a bad way to get a little nourishment. I got a pineapple cone, soft serve. Pretty good. Nice little setting here in a courtyard. There's live music playing in the building right next to me. Doesn't get much better than this. Visiting in February might be the perfect time of year to explore St. Augustine and all it has to offer. Another area of town to seek out is called Avila Street. That's located to the south of the center. I viewed Avila Street as the gateway to the Old Town. You come to this part of town and it's a much different pace from the main tourist district. Much quieter here, cobblestone streets, there's some bed and breakfasts, there are art galleries, there are all kinds of old houses that are really wonderful to see. I strolled through this part of town for the better part of an hour. It was a nice contrast to the busier, more hectic spots to the north. The museums, galleries, and homes were plentiful and charming. One place is billed as the oldest house. It is apparently the oldest surviving Spanish colonial house in the city. It dates to the early 1700s. This has served as a museum since 1893. For those planning to make the trip to St. Augustine, I would suggest stopping into the main visitor center first. Attendants there provide all sorts of information and can answer just about any question that you can throw at them. It's also here that you can get an introduction to the history of the place. There are several exhibits and displays that help you get started in your quest to understand the history here. A popular way to get around the city is the Old Town Trolley Tour. It's a hop-on, hop-off deal that makes a circuit covering 22 different points of interest. Cost is in the neighborhood of $36 for a full day. I chose to walk to the majority of places that I visited, but I saw the trolleys just about everywhere. There was one final stop for me and my family members who had spent the day exploring St. Augustine separate from me. It was Dog Rose Brewing. There were games, and there was a round of beers. So we didn't branch too far away from our comfort zone. All three of the brothers got a brown ale. Linda down there at the end got a honey ale. Not a mead, but a honey ale. And they're pretty good. It was a great way to cap off a day of discovery in North America's oldest continuously inhabited city settled by Europeans. We were all happy. I only got a chance to spend a few hours here in St. Augustine. Tried to get to as much as possible, but there was so much more that I didn't get to. You could spend 2 or 3 days easily here discovering all that there is to see in this wonderful place. Thanks for being with me here on Old, Alone, and Far From Home. I will see you next time.